I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 2, Episode 20. The past few episodes have been a lot. I love it.
But great.
Yeah.
A lot, but great.
Amelia's first trial's over. The other two are supposed to be pretty easy according to Echidna, based off of Amelia's disposition right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to see them, or if we're going to stick with the other plot line, which is Roswaal, Subaru, Roswaal not forgetting to honor Otto the next time he comes face to face with him. Finding out about the sanctuary. Oh my god.
I think that's definitely the more compelling directions to go to. You're kind of, what are you setting a viewer up for? If you're like, yeah, there's 2 more trials, but like, they're going to be so easy for you and not a challenge. Then the viewer's kind of like, then what's the point of seeing them if they're not going to be furthering the plot, furthering character development, entertaining.
Yeah.
So I think the sanctuary.
Maybe Echidna was just bluffing. They're going to be really hard.
Really hard. I think the
not.
sanctuary is where I'm leaning towards. That is the next point to go to. Mainly because I feel like the mansion is the next.
It's on the horizon.
The next, I would say, issue that needs to be resolved.
I agree with that. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Sweet. Also, cutting in here to interject to say something about watching openings and outros. We had to record a similar, bit for Vinland Saga just now because we're going through a similar issue. So there in our, history of watching shows have been one time significantly I can remember being told by 99.9% of the people who were talking to us, or our moderators told us for leaving comments, that we should not watch an intro. Spoilers. Oh my god, don't do it. In hindsight, hell yeah, that was the right decision. Now, every other time that wasn't that, whether we have or have not watched an intro, it has never been to that level of a consensus.
Certainty.
Yeah, that's certain. We in our past, whether the channel or before the channel, had always watched anime as it was given to us, or TV shows as they were given to us, and just watched the product as is, not necessarily skipping an intro or outro for spoilers, whether they were there or not. And that, coupled with the thought that at least 2 intros that we've watched on the channel have included false beliefs, like thinking that, oh, this character is going to be in the series this long because that's what the intro said, but that didn't happen. Or this fight is going to happen because the intro showed that fight was going to happen. That fight didn't happen. Intros can go from spoiling a lot for you of characters that you haven't met before, but it can also be giving you misconceptions. And because of that, I feel as if it's very hard to know until you have the privilege of hindsight whether to watch an intro or not. And I'm given very obvious things in front of my face a lot, and I make a complete idiot out of myself for misunderstanding it. And we don't know what's to come there. But with all of that being said, the next time that we do get the intro or outro or anything regarding this series and other series, we are going to watch it unless there's an outlier that it's overwhelmingly certain that we shouldn't. Because at the moment, we're in a situation where we can't get into any comments or spoilers because of that risk. So when even our 2 mods are butting heads about whether it's okay or not to watch it, and other people aren't 100% certain, it's very hard for us to decide what's right or wrong without having any knowledge about it. So we're just going to continue to do what we always do with it, and just have fun watching the show and not get too deep into it unless it seems like that's overwhelmingly, a consensus. Thank you. Let's go. When?
The Roswaal from the past?
Is this the Betty Echidna? Perfection. Same! I like how that's the only color in this black and white world. The blush from Echidna.
も知らないとは、あの低さが嘆かわしいな。どうだい？少しは楽になったかな？
女性がこんな。
マナを直接吸い出しただけだよ。君のそれは病ではない。
初
Check
巻
the beast
非
period.
常に稀なものだよ。今日まで誰も君を理解できなかったはずだ。私は君の苦しみがわかる。味わったものとしてね。私は魔女だ。たまに善行もする。悪い魔女
Evil
だよ。
witch who occasionally does nice
君
things.
は
僕と先生との馴れ初めは。
どうだったも何も聞いちゃいなかったかしら。それなんてお母様にも来やすすぎるのよ。
ただのきっかけだ。僕はあの時の先生の言葉を。
I can't believe this is
お母
happening.
様にとってはいい迷惑かしら。もちろんベイ様のお気持ちは私にもわかります。ギドナ様に救われた一人ですから。
Saved by Echidna.
リュウズ君も先生に感謝しないとね。僕もあの日先生と出会わなければ一人苦しみ続けていたはずだ。世を儚んで早まったことをしていたかもしれない。両親や兄弟を見返して名
Wow.
助けを乗っ取れたのも先生のおかげなんだよ。
ずうずうしい男かしら。でもベアトレス様もよく
You better be
感謝す
grateful.
るのよ。ベティとロズワールのどっちの味方かしら。その妙に生温かい目つき気に入らないのとがあるなら受けて立つかしら。
僕は君を愛しているよ。
気色悪いこと言う。
先生。
3人ともここだったか。仲良く喧嘩しないでいたかな。
Her like little family she's made.
The lack of seeing eyes.
どうやらまだまだ揃って手のかかる子のようだ。
ほう、そんな話を聞かされたのかい？
シーマさんが墓所で見たリューズメイエルの記憶だ。
君はあの日のことも知ったんだね。この聖域が誕生した
Okay.
あ
Okay.
の日。
本当にロズワールはなんて腹立たしいやつなのかしら。到底許しがたいのよ。ベアトリス様が私にいたずらを仕掛けたから竹内をなさってくれたんじゃないですか。いたずらなんて言い方は高尚なあれなのよ。
Okay.
同じ部屋で私はとても
Stop.
That's amazing.
So cute.
した今ほそんなに目くじら立てなくても。
そっくりそれをやり返した僕に
Yang
対して
magic.
も全く目くじらを立てない。いい顔をするね、ベアトリス。僕は君のその顔が
お前なんかちょっと才能と家柄に恵まれて得た幸運なだけのやつかしら。ベアトリス様、それは褒めているだけなのでは。
またベアトリスに困らされたらいつでも言ってくれていい。すぐに懲らしめてお尻ペンペンしてあげるから。
この娘がお前に頼ることなんて一切ないかしら。では何かあればきっとご報告しますね。ことかしら。
ベアトリスに代わって謝っておくよ。
Apologize.
いえ、そんな恐れ多いです。読書と言えるほどのことはまだ。本を読むのはいいことかしら。
Has her own
読書は人生を
library.
豊かにしてく
先生の受け売りを口にするベアトリスなのでした。君がリュウズ君の先生になってあげたらどうだい？
お忙しいベアトリス様にご迷惑をおかけするわけには。やってやってもいいかしら。
This is so pleasant, but things are about to get bad, I feel.
何かしら。
I'm very uneasy right
だから
now.
無理するつもりはないのよ。ベアトリス様に教えていただけるならそれはとても嬉しいです。本当に運のいい娘なのよ。ベアトリス様、お母様が呼んでるかしら。お母様はお前もお呼びなのよ。緊急事態かしら。
どうやら奴が来た。
Who is he?
やはりあの男です。今すぐここから逃げるべきです。奴が現れれば立て直すことも不可能になる。先生のお役に立てない。盾になれと言われれば喜んで盾に対抗策なしでは。
ないわけじゃない。ある程度聖域の目算は立っている。理論の構築は済んでいる。
Construction of the theory is complete.
活動に必要な核がまだ不十分だ。結界は機能しない。
そのためにこれまであと一歩で聖域が完成したのに。
Reuses the core?
足りていない結界の核として私はお役に立てませんか？エキドナ様のお作りになる結界、その核の条件に。
ベアトリスからかい。結界の核として君が機能する可能性は高い。君のマナと土地がもっと馴染むのを待った後だ。
ありきたりの結界じゃないんだ。人とアジンの根血をに集め結界の成立する規模にした。この最後の一押しになるんだ。だが
お二人はきっと何とかする方法をお持ちなんですよね。エキドナ様やロズワール様に救われました。疎まれることもない生活を送れて、その時間の恩返しができるなら生きた意味はそこにあるのだと思うのです。
Oh.
君のオドを触媒に聖域の核を作り上げる。工程を短縮し結界を機能させることができるだろう。
これは救われますか？
今の脅威を退けることは可能なはずだ。
いつになりますか？
今すぐにでもベアトリスに準備させている。あとは術式を構築する時間さえ稼げれば。
時間を作ります。リュウズ君、すまない。僕だけでは力不足だった。
いいえ、ロズワール様もそのことに感謝をしても恨むことなんて。
No reason
僕は
to
すぐに
resent
出ます。
you.
先生は結界の準備と。
ベアトリスには知らせない方がいいんじゃないかい。
Oh,
ここで
fuck.
ベアトリスを呼ばなかったら一生あの子に
She
恨ま
will
れますよ。
despise both you and me
いやでも
forever.
そうかもしれませんが。
分かった。助言に従おう。
Who the fuck? It's like similar. It's like Fortuna's colors a little bit, right?
僕がお前を止めないと。
本当に嫌だ。すごい下がる。最悪の中の最悪の最悪。
Oh! Oh!
誰かいる？
No.
アルコ
ジムと鬱陶しい。
ーうつのマシン。
Devil of
Devil of
Melancholy.
Melancholy.
呼び名だ。気分がメイン好きでこんな。
Were there devils as well as witches?
何
What?
どう生き方を曲げら選択肢から今の自分を選んだのはお前だ。顔をするな憂鬱のマジン。
Hector?
Hector?
もう己はお前が苦手だ。
Chosen in the same way as what Jusu does in the past?
内臓ぐちゃぐちゃ、心バキバキ。そんなところでどう？
間に合ったとは到底言い難い状況のよう。
間に合ったとも。お前の弟子は己を足段稼ぎを果たしたさ。
存外に無
So, how he's dragging
Yeah, I
sounds like
know.
Roswell.
くらいの時間を取ろう。
だは何も変わらないな。決別した時そのままだ。
血の聞き方も相変わらずなってない。昔はかったのに。
儲けてないでお母様が時間を稼いでくれている間に動くのよ。準備は整った。それがお母様の伝言かしら。その一部にされたくなかったらうっかり見入られるんじゃないのよ。やりません。こんな時にエキドナ様のお言いつけを守られるんですね。いいにとってお母様は絶対。
Mother is absolute.
お前やここの住人たちは恵まれているのよ。にこれが片付いた後、せいぜい働きで報いるかしら。お前、なんだか嫌な顔で笑っているのよ。
Look on the face.
申し訳ありません。少しだけ目にゴミが。お前はここでおとなしくしているかしら。胃がお母様に加勢してくるのよ。ズワールのやつも助けてやらんといけないかしら。また明日からも。大変長い間お世話になりました。ここでお別れです。お別れってどういう？森に結界を張り巡らせる準備がされています。時間をかけて結界を。その時間が足りなくなってしまいました。結界のための時間。あの男が邪魔ならあれを。ただ戦っても勝てない。マがあれほど献身されたのも、そうしなくてはエキドナ様を救う。結界さえできればこの場所は守られる。この身を捧げます。バカなことを言うんじゃないのよ。お前の身をさも何も知らないお前に何ができるっていうかしら。お前には この麻酔症を触媒に濃度を核にして結界を。それがエキドナ様のお考えです。
Absolute.
And
Right?
she hates people that just run off to their death.
今すぐベティがお母様に直談判してくるかしら。やまいし、きっと聞いてくれ。そんな時間はありません。この瞬間に決断が必要なんです。それならお母様へ加勢するのがベティの決断。様とベティが一緒ならあんなやつイチコロかしら。ベティの扉渡りでみんなここから逃げてしまえばいいのよ。そうするかしら。あんまり大勢だとベティも大変だけど、そのぐらいやってのけるのよ。で、お母様も連れ出すかしら。ほら、これで。見えて、また追われることに怯えて生きるんですか。のおかげで、ようやく手に入れた安寧の地。新しい聖域を作るのにどのくらいかかるんでしょうか。温かな時間をいただきました。この場所が好きです。ここで暮らせて本当に良かったと思つみんなの笑顔が大好きです。なくしたくありません。お前がここをどんな風に思っていたとしても、お前たちのためなんかじゃなくて。はい、分かっています。それなら、それが分かってるならどうしてなのよ。いいんです。始まりはそうだったかもしれません。ここで私たちが過ごした時間の全部がありのままだったはずがありません。私がここで過ごしてベアトリス様とお話しした私が私で選んだことだったんですから。何もなくしてなんかいません。全部抱えたままです。
Still have everything I've been given.
ここで過ごせて幸せでした。だから私はその時間を守るためにベアトリス様には何度も今も申し上げます。ベアトリス様、甘いもの食べ過ぎないように注意してくださいね。本を読み書きを教える約束が。ありがとう。さよなら、ベティ。
その話が真実だとして、それがどうしたと。
もう一度言う。降伏しろ。屋敷に向かわせた連中を止めろ。それで何もかも手打ちにできる。
私の400年は軽くはない。を持ち込み、ガーフィールを取り除いて、それで優位に立ったつもりでいるだけ威勢よくよそ者に噛みついていた君が、ハル君と愉快な仲間たちの一員だの変わり身の速さには驚かされるよ。こだわり続けてきた思い、手放す君が私に軽いとは出来の悪い冗談だ。家族を本当に愛していたのなら、そんなに愛していたのたやすく変わってしまうものなのか。家族を愛していなかったのか。程度で曲がる思いが君の10年間。
勘違いすんじゃねえ。
勘違い。
別に喧嘩に負けたってだけで大将についたわけじゃねえよ。俺様は10年ずっと過去にこだわっ10年ぶりにやり合って
I just faced the
と
past.
相対したと君が。
どうして大将につくのか話してやるつもりもねえ。
My boss.
けどな、一個だけ俺様がてめえじゃなく大将につく気
Tell
に
me.
なった決定よ。そのまんまでいろって言われるより、お前は強いから必要だって言われる方につきたくなんのが当然だろうが。
That
Oh
was
my
so
God.
cute.
なんでもね。ガーフィールは過去を見た。その結果こっちに苦を思いやってきた気持ちが弱くなるわけじゃない。変わらないままあいつは変わったんだ。
何もできはしない。できるものか。以下のお前に何ができる。月日が刻み込んだ思いは誰何人たりともそれは変えられない。私の400年が覆されることなどあってたまるものか。
思いは変わらないものだからか。
そうだ。
信じ続けてきた思いだからか。
ああ、そうだとも。
思うことの弱さばっかり見てるんだ。強い気持ちだって分かってるのにやはり見ようとするんだよ。
私がそれを信じているからだ。誰かの強さを信じて期待するように、私は誰もが弱いまくて脆くてたった一つの大切なものにすがる以外思いないちっぽけな存在だと
Jesus.
そう信じて。私は一人の女性を思い続けている。過ごした日々よりずっと長く 触れ合えない時を過ごしても姿が焼き付いて離れない。
Oh,
魂
it's
を
like
焦がして
Fortuna and Juice.
やまないんだ。あの別れの日に心が粉々に砕かれたまま、私は何も変わっていない。肝心要の一人が残り続ける限り勝負は終わらない。
エミリアを見くびるなよ。あの子はもうお前の思惑全部乗り越えていくよ。
超えられるものか。抱える後悔に押しつぶされ変わるなんて体毛を抱泣きじゃくって君にすが
He
る。
believes everyone's weak and will remain
泣き
so.
顔が似合う女なんかいるもんかよ。片する女、俺は一遍も見たことねえや。
それがハーフエルフの宿命だ。同じ執事は生まれながらに背負った呪い。
Same lineage as the Witch of Envy.
蔑まれる必然だよ。
ふざけるな。あの子のどこが魔女だ。あの子を魔女にするんだろうが。誰か一人でもあの子に苦しい時や悲しい時は泣いてもいいんだって。言えないならそばにいる誰かが拭いてくれる。誰かがお前にもいるんだって。誰か言って。誰もしないなら俺がそれをする。思いが命のないもんだって信じてるお前に叩きつけてやる。俺の名前はエミリアの騎士。
Yeah.
エミリアはクルゼロズワールとは言って信じるあの子がお前の最後の望みを。
やはり私の睨んだ通りだ。月スバル。
何。
君と私は似た。
Oh my god.
理想を強要
Force
す
our
るという。
ideals upon the women we
お前は
love.
弱さ。似たもん。
Oh my god.
一点だけはうなずいてやるよ。行くぞ。
He stole Melancholy's pants.
よし、もう大丈夫。お帰りなさいませ、エミリア様。
Okay, that was Rezero season 2, episode 20. I don't know if it's because it's so infrequent that I see an intro or an outro for Rezero, but this outro was perfect. It was beautiful, and I loved it. That episode is hard for me. I feel like a bad reactor. I feel like I didn't talk. I was just in it the whole time, and it didn't feel like it was 29 minutes. It felt like it was like half an episode, but I was just like, I was in it.
Were you also crying? Because
Yeah.
obviously I don't look over at you to see what you're doing or how you're reacting to things. But I would like to know if I was alone or not in terms
I
of
was
like,
having a
tears being
very
shed.
tough time watching any of these scenes with Betty because I know what's to come
And
in
how she
terms of
feels
like where
now.
she is nowadays and in terms of the conversation with Echidna about Betty. So yeah, that was hard for me.
I love Betty so much. Betty is one of those characters that I feel like an immense amount, like surge of joy when they appear on screen and in a show or in an episode. I would say like Krush is one of those characters in the show for me too, and I would say Echidna for you would definitely be one of those characters, but Betty for me is like pinnacle, and I would say maybe across a lot of different shows.
Yeah.
That like Betty is up there as one of those characters that I get insanely excited and happy when they're on the screen. I think she is just amazing on all ends, from her patterns of speech, her design, her appearance, all of it. And then even what we're adding into on the emotional end of things with this season, Betty is like up there as one of my favorite anime characters.
I think like I loved Betty on a surface level for a while. Because I had no expectation of there being a deeper reasoning for why she is the way that she is or where she is. And after that barrier has been broken down, I've never been able to go back. I love Betty so much.
I want to save her in the mansion.
Seeing the door, like her fuck around with her door magic, Yin, it was so awesome and like makes me so sad at the same time. I don't know.
And then Roswell has was saying that if he messed with her the same way, she would also be so distraught in
Yeah.
the way that she makes other people.
So, beginning of the episode, we're given a black and white scene with only a flashback with only 1 ounce of color, and that color is the blush on Roswell's face.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Which this is actual Roswell. This is
so much.
100% Roswell. I think that there was
tongue, you know?
There was, yes.
Wow. The magic release period, right? Echidna's able to take out mana through that method, and I think the last time that we saw it was what, Memory Snow?
I think that we didn't get, I don't know if we got the term, but I would say the situation is incredibly similar to Puck in Memory Snow.
I thought that we got, I could be wrong, but I felt like we got the term.
I've heard it before.
But it was the idea that like the ode or the odd, like it has to be able to reach a limit, like as like, of course, and the idea of it getting closer to reaching that limit, mana would start spilling out.
Yeah, like as Subaru had said back then, I think he equated it to like a belly, and the belly was gonna pop.
It's like a balloon, kind of.
It's like a balloon, yeah.
But damn, we saw like none of Echidna's eyes this episode.
Which I'm wondering what your take on that is. What's your interpretation of not seeing Echidna's eyes throughout this episode?
I think Echidna's very smart. That's my interpretation of it.
And how and why does her intelligence have anything to do with her eyes being seen?
I think she it feels as if like she knows exactly what people's, I don't know, what people are going to respond with.
Is it that she wants people to make a choice that she's playing her cards, she's on the chessboard in anticipating that they will do something for her or act in a certain way, and she is using that maybe to her advantage?
What was her line about a witch can do nice things?
Yeah, it was like an evil witch that occasionally does nice things.
Yeah. Those are my main thoughts.
She definitely likes to see how people react to things, how they handle things. We've already learned that that's kind of what she's doing to Betty, or what she's utilizing Betty as, is because she's entertained by seeing what would be the moment or the person that would cause Betty to drop. I hate to bring up another line that we're about to probably get into soon, but for Betty to drop her absolute.
Yeah.
And that entertainment factor of anticipation. But before we get away from Echidna not having the eyes for the entirety of the episode, it took me back to how she's been with Amelia in Amelia's trial, where anytime there was like a possibility that Echidna was emotionally impacted by something, we weren't seeing her eyes, we were seeing a slight mouth expression. And so with that, while we could also go to the idea that she is incredibly intelligent and kind of has already predicted the movements of others, you could also go with that she does have her own emotions maybe, or she does seem to feel sad, I would say, in just body language in this episode.
I would love, once we get there, I think I wrote down the timestamp for it, but in terms of what Roswell did for her against fucking Hector,
the devil of melancholy, which I can't wait to talk about that.
What, like, throughout that dialogue, she had, I'm gonna paraphrase, that she didn't expect for her, like, it to be this hard, or for herself to feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's just a very good example to pick out in referencing Echidna's mentality. I will say that I feel as if this world of Rezero is so extraordinary and so much deeper than like I assumed it would be. Like, I'm like, okay, this entire season, all these witches, like, holy shit, what's going on? I think I know Echidna. I know I love Echidna, and I think I know Echidna. But the idea of Hector coming out of the blue and giving us lines of dialogue that are directly telling us that they were, it seems like an allegiance with each other at one point in time and have known each other for a long time. Like, that is the kind of shit that is like way outside of my expectation, that I'm like, there's so much more to know. There's so much more to learn about who this person is, who this witch is. God. Hector. Okay, we'll get there.
Right. I was about to say something about him, but I'm like, time and a place.
Well, I have something pulled up that I wanted to talk about before we get there. Roswaal and Echidna are talking after they've been alerted that he is coming, and the lines of dialogue say that the plans for the sanctuary are in place to an extent. Construction of the theory is complete. That's so fascinating to me.
Do you love that language?
I love that language, and I love what that implies for, like, the magic in this world. It feels like it's being, like, genuinely constructed. Like, it feels like it needs to be, like, well thought out and prepared properly. I love that.
That there are spells that are craft. She even says, I believe, a couple lines later, that she has to, like, create or write a spell.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, that kind of informs us as a viewer more about the magic system in this universe of Rezero. This idea that at once upon a time, yes, like, all the spells that and the words someone uses to bring about a giant fireball are things that someone at some point hundreds of years ago developed.
Yeah. Perhaps we shouldn't let Beatrice know about this. If we don't call Beatrice back right now, she will despise both you and me forever. Of course, she might do that even if we do call her. Very well, I'll take your advice. You know what I mean? Like...
But it obviously isn't taken. Because Beatrice doesn't understand the extent of what this means for Yuzu until the interaction later. So what happens there? Does Echidna lie there? Does Echidna only tell Beatrice certain things in order of her playing her game to see how Beatrice would react?
What is the aftermath of this? Like, are Betty and Roswaal even having a conversation after this? You know, like, it is like... That's because if that's the case, that they aren't talking again because of what circumstances are happening now, Echidna can get away with that lie if that was her intention. You know? God. Okay. All right, Hector.
Is that where we are now?
Yep.
We can talk about Hector.
Man.
What an inspiration to the Roswaal we know and maybe don't love.
What the fuck? The Devil of Melancholy. Devils, right? Is that...
There has to be. In terms of, like, all these sins, we just got Pandora. We just got her. And we were like, wait, what? There's a witch that we haven't met in the witch's graveyard? Like, mind-blowing moment. And now you're going to tell me there are such things as... There's, like, a counterpart to sin-like language or attributes being given tenfold to a magical person?
I don't know. What is I'm fast forwarding a bit, but like at a certain point in the episode towards the end, Roswaal's grappling at his jacket. And then I was going back to look at Hector
to see
like any similarities, because obviously like the tone of voice, right? But the pants, the two-toned, like, it's so bizarre.
I think my theory is that Roswaal is currently the Devil of Melancholy.
Yeah.
Or at least, in a way, he took upon that mantle once he lost the woman that he loved, basically.
I'm, like, what is the connection between Hector and Echidna? Like, what are the lines that we get between them? They're a little bit ahead, but they're so fascinating. This hurts more than I expected, which is what I was talking about earlier. Your people fought bravely. If you want to cry, shall we set aside time for it? You were so adorable back then too. Just like then, you still don't know how to talk to me. Like, the fuck?
It's definitely a world that I don't even think we can guess. I don't think we could even theorize what their interactions or relationship were or why it existed. I mean, I guess you could say just in just simple terms, well, of course, if there are devils of different attributes like melancholy, then they would maybe have like a sister sin,
But
a witch that they'd be friends with or be working with.
But within the world, our present time within the world, the biggest fear is of Satella and the Witch of Envy.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard a single time about devils. I don't think. I could easily be forgetting something. But like the idea that we currently are living in a world that it was vastly different from these flashbacks is mind-blowing to me.
I'm wondering, time period, we don't get a year in terms of what we've gotten with Amelia's past. We don't know how long she was frozen. Maybe we do, and I don't recall exactly what that number was, but we're told that this fight was 400 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In that time span, history has been written, and nowadays, the witches' cult, which is supposedly ones that are wanting to create the rebirth of Satella, that all have names after all of the witches that she has dispatched. That is what is the long-standing fear of the current people. That is their most recent horrible history that they hold on to, that they fear. Not these devils. You don't hear them being like, what if the devils came back? They don't even refer to the other witches. It's all about Satella, and what Satella did is the more recent history.
In episode 13, we were given 400 years as well. God, I have I have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think, talking about the flashback of Echidna, Roswaal, Betty, right? And the interaction with Hector. What does the outside world look like right now? Outside of the soon-to-be sanctuary.
Bad.
You know what I... Like, what the fuck is the state of that?
If they're creating this safe place for people that are not human, those that are half beast, half human, half elf, if they're creating a safe space for people that are other, then there has to be a reason 400 years ago why that was absolutely necessary for the safety of those individuals, the peace of those individuals. What was happening in the world then that was creating the ostracizing? What was happening? Why were the humans... What was creating the animosity that would cause those groups to feel like they had to go somewhere else and needed a sanctuary? Was it brought up and brought about because whatever the other witches were doing at that time was making the humans wary of anyone that was other? Is it because of Satella that they are being ostracized? I'm not sure. Like, what was happening here? What was... Obviously, it's not the true reason the sanctuary was created. It seems like the sanctuary was created for multiple reasons, and it benefits whatever Echidna wanted, but it also benefits the people that she's brought here.
Yeah.
It seems like it's
human, demi-human.
Multiple motives here.
Man, this episode broke me a bit. Like, in my head, but more so emotionally. Like, I'm bringing up the Betty conversation on screen right now again. So to protect all of those times, I must go. I offer my affection and gratitude to you, Beatrice, over and over again. Jesus Christ, man.
This scene what it does for me is it informs and reminds me and gives me more understanding, and I feel like on a rewatch would probably be even better for Betty's interactions with Subaru.
Oh yeah.
In terms of how she would get angry about him when he made a contract with her for her to protect him and then ends up jumping off that cliff. In that episode, there was this idea that she very much dislikes people who kind of sacrifice themselves or end their lives early.
Yeah.
And now we see this scene, and what that's giving me is the desire to rewatch those moments.
Without a doubt.
Has that ever happened when you've watched another show that watching further episodes makes you you have an even stronger desire to go back and rewatch?
You look at things with more context and in a different way, and it just makes you appreciate the writing with that idea that there's a reason ahead of it that hasn't been addressed yet. One of my favorite moments this entire episode is Betty going from saying whatever Mother says is absolute to like the hundreds of different ways they could go about things.
Yes, and the fact that she will, Mother dotes on me, I'll convince her, I'll talk to her.
Yep.
The fact that, like, yeah,
bringing
the
up her doors.
there.
I'm sure that I can do it.
Okay, so one of my thoughts when she brought up the doors is that something that can be, if Roswell doesn't back down in terms of getting rid of the assassins he sent to the mansion, can we say the right thing to Betty that means we could utilize using her doors to transport everyone out of there in the way that she says she would try to do for everyone?
I think
in the
that's
sanctuary.
a really interesting point to bring up.
She says it'd be hard for her.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
But especially after all this time's elapsed and passed. Oh my god, the books. God damn it. Like, talking about rewatch, the idea of, like, promising the time to teach and learn to write and read, and then seeing what books are to Betty currently, like, and just being surrounded by it is wild. What
it is at first we were like, oh, of course, once we get the echidna connection to Betty, we're like, of course, this witch that desires knowledge would then it would rub off on others that would like her or follow her, that they would also be interested in the pursuit of knowledge. But now we're getting more of an emotional connection to why she wants to stay in the library, why she's isolating herself. It's the mother is absolute and the book is empty, but it's also like she's emotionally tied to this space because this is something she regrets, something she wishes she could have done. I wonder if she feels like also like easier to be able to set in a place of like, this is her place, this is her like stone, this is her crystal, you know, in her own way, and she could like share in that. She's keeping herself as, she's the protector of the mansion, if you will. She's putting herself in maybe a similar position to Ryuzu, where you are not continuing to live your life past this point. You are stationary, you are somewhat of a protector of something. She is a protector of her library and thus forward a protector of the mansion. But she's also created a barrier between her and the outside world. Garth had some of my favorite lines this episode. I fucking adore what they've done with him. And like, I love how he talks about Subaru. You really liked when he kept saying boss? I could hear you chuckling a little bit. But it's different this time. It's not just calling him boss. It's referring to him as his boss, talking to Roswell. I didn't just decide to follow my boss because he beat me in a fight. I spent 10 years clinging to the past. I just faced that past for the first time in 10 years. Roswell's like, what? You did? I ain't interested in telling you what I saw there or why I started following my boss. But I will tell you the one big reason I decided to follow him instead of you. Best line coming up. Oh, that's the best line in the whole episode. Because rather than the one who told me to stay weak forever, why wouldn't I follow the one who says, I need you because you're strong? Whew! Ooh. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. That was the highlight line of dialogue in this entire episode. Thank whoever wrote this to giving it to Garf. This is his
I
a
love
bright shiny moment for him.
Otto and Subaru's
I know.
reaction.
Otto got a cute bright shiny moment at the end of last episode, and now Garf's getting it, and they were just so cute to each other. These little looks that they were giving each other, even when they were all three leaving the room together.
You know what's great? Subaru didn't talk for Garf there. He let Garf explain it himself and then, like, added on to it after Garf could speak for himself. It's, like, adding to that strength.
That's so good. And you know what that does? It takes you back to the moments where Subaru stepped in and... there's this line from Roswell that I think correlates to what I'm about to say. Forcing our ideals onto the women that we love. So what Subaru has done for so many episodes in the past for season 1 was inserting himself, putting himself first. Even when we get here to the sanctuary, he's like, I'll do the trial for Amelia.
Yeah.
I'll do it for her. Like, putting himself, making it so she can't stand on her own 2 feet. If she could, you're not even giving her the chance to. You're taking away even that opportunity for her to grow. And this moment shows us what he's learned from, and now he's applying it to more than Amelia. He's applying it to other people. He's like, Garf can say his own thing, but once he says his own thing, then I'm gonna come in and, like, point my finger in your face and, like, tell you how I feel. I'm gonna give him his time, this moment that's gonna be important to him and good for him, and this is his piece to talk about. This is his past. This is the fact that you thought he was weak. He is totally allowed to have his moment at you, and then now's mine.
Yeah. Yin and yang magic were interesting. I loved one of the last things in the episode was Amelia coming out of the trial, like, holding onto the clip from Fortuna.
Yes, definitely. Lineage of the Witch of Envy.
Oh, fuck. When was that?
It was before he says force our ideals on the women we love, but I didn't write when exactly.
Oh.
So I have no clue.
I for sure did. I know I did. 1 second and I can for sure find it. Maybe over here.
Do you have it?
I think so. It's in, here we go.
Oh, it was right before this line. Okay. Here we are.
She will be hurt and held in contempt. That is the fate of the half-elf. Born with the curse of sharing the same lineage as the Witch of Envy. It's inevitable that she will be scorned as a witch. And then we're shown what?
Satella being really freaking sad.
I don't know. This adds to and takes away from my theory that she's Satella. Because, like, lineage implies no.
Related.
Yeah. But the way that they're bringing up Satella's imagery there and then saying it's inevitable that she will be scorned as a witch.
And what that tells us is that's how Satella was treated. Is that she was scorned as a witch. That the history book says she was this big giant villain. But we've never actually seen what actually happened. No,
and that's why I'm like, oh my god, it could fit into the Amelia witch. Amelia is Satella.
I was just seeing it as a parallel that because they are of the same family and situation, they will be treated the same and thus will have the same doomed ending.
Yeah. I know.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I just, have to have my mono release period. You're gonna pop back. My bubble.
Go back to the beginning of the episode, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
And then when she put her finger and the you know what I'm talking about. You're not looking at me, so maybe you don't know what it is. She kind of hits the saliva trail. Was he puking? He was just puking. He just coughed up something. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.